So till now we have seen about what a Tosca workspace is, how we can create the Tosca workspace, and what is the component folder in Tosca. Then we have seen about teams check-in, check-out, the teams option, check-in all, update all, and the user management, how we can create the users for our workspace and all. So since we have seen about this, now today we are going to discuss about the modules part. So what is a modules, and here we are going to see why modules is so important in Tosca, why it is module. In a way, we can say it is heart and soul of Tosca, because with the help of modules is what we are able to create the test cases or test steps in a test case. So with the help of modules itself, we can do it. And in modules, we will have two things. One is the standard modules that we have, and then there is something called custom modules or application specific modules that we create. So I can say application specific modules, and for this nothing but we are going to create our own modules. So creating our own application specific modules is what we would have. So most of the time we would be doing it based on what application we are testing, but other than that, the other module that we have is nothing but the default or the standard or the generic modules in Tosca we have. So this is what we are going to discuss in our today's session. Try to create one folder. Let me just create one folder called modules, and then under this modules is what let us see how we could what is this standard modules, uh, and why Tosca needs this modules. With the help of modules, how we can create the test steps or generally a test case even. So coming to this modules first, any application, if we just try to take, or just before we go further onto that, so what are this application specific modules that we would need, or the standard modules or the generic modules what we would need in Tosca? So any action that you would want to perform from Tosca onto any application. So whatever application, for example, let's take the application as which we were discussing. Let's say I would want to automate this particular application. So if I want to automate this application, so what is that I would have to do? First, as part of automation, you need to understand or know what steps do you want to proceed, what exactly you want to do into that application. So basically your test case or your functionality that you are going to test. So in this application, or be it any other application, even whatever other applications that you would try to take, right? So let me just take this application. Okay, so if we try to take any applications, right, if we want to automate, so first we should know what application we are trying to automate, and to automate that application, what exactly is the action that we would need. So depending on the action that we would want to perform, we will try to take the module we will try to take. So in Tosca, if we want to create a test case, how we can create? Just select on the test cases section. If you right click, we could create one test case, any test cases that we would want here. So some sample test cases, whatever we would want to create, we could create a test case in this, right? When we are creating a test case, what in general a test case would consist of? Anyone? Test case consists of
Steps.
Test
test
steps.
steps, right? So test steps. So if we want to create any test steps in Tosca into this test case, right? So if we see, just like how if we want to create a test case in Tosca, what we are doing, we would go to the test case section, wherever a test case section is. Onto that, if we right click, we get option called create test case. This option we are getting it. So now once the test case is created, if we want to create a test step, If we right click, we don't have any option called create test step. We don't have that. So here we will be, since we need test steps into this test case, and in Tosca test case, if we need test steps, then that we can get with the help of modules only. With the help of modules. So modules are, with the help of modules, you could create your test steps. Now, depending on what test step, what step you need, what action you want to perform, we would try to take that module. We would try to create that module. We would try to use that module according to that. Now here, let's say as per the test case, so any test case that we are going to automate, right, any on any application, so what would be the first step that we might want to perform in that test case? If we are testing any web-based application, let's say, what could be the first step?
Open
Login.
URL.
Launch.
Open
Open the browser.
Launch the URL.
Open
Exactly.
URL.
Open the browser and open the URL, launch that application. That is the first thing that we would need. So opening of the browser or launching of application, the URL, is what the very first step. Be it any web-based application, if we are testing, that is for sure we would be doing it. So manually, the first action that we would perform is open browser. So now depend on what browser we want to open, we would open that particular browser, and into that browser we will type the URL, so that application would be launched. So that is very first step. Now depending on that step, we have to analyze, or as we said, okay, if we want to perform that step over here, we need module, and the module or the action that we need is nothing but the opening of browser or launching of application. Now when we want to do any specific operation, any specific action, first we have to analyze, we have to understand whether that action is a application specific action, or it is a very generic, or the standard one. So when I say a standard one, or when I say a generic one, or when I say this application specific actions, so you would come to know, like let's say if I say, oh, okay, I want to enter some username into this text field, some text into this particular text field I want to enter. So when I say that action, here I want to enter some text field, some text into this text field. So this action that I am doing is entering some text, and this is, now I will say this is application specific action that I am performing, that I am trying to perform. Why? Because I am entering this text into this application, not into any other application or anywhere else, right? So whenever I am doing any application specific action, now application specific action could be entering some text into this text field, or entering some text into this field, or clicking on this button, or selecting some value into this, or selecting this radio button, clicking over here, clicking over there, clicking on this button, or anything. So clicking on this truck icon or link, or this motorcycle icon, so clicking onto this, all these are the application specific actions that we are performing. And whenever we are trying to perform any application specific action, then from Tosca, if we want to do that, we have to create our application specific module. So in this application specific, or creating our own module, generally what we say, create own module. So how we can create that own module, or this application specific modules, is what we would be discussing it in later part of the session. But I hope everyone is clear on what is application specific action. Any questions on this application specific action?
No, but
Right. So
Clear.
yes, anything, whatever automation if you want to do from Tosca, first you need to understand, analyze it, what action it is. Is it application specific action, or it is a generic? Now when I say generic, when I say a generic action, so generic could be, if I'm testing this application, I might be opening a browser for this application, launching the URL. The same way, if I am testing this application, to test this, even I want to open the browser and I would launch the application, correct? And if I test any other application, even for other application also, I might want to open the browser, launch the URL, enter the URL. So this opening of browser, launching of the application, right? We can say this is a generic, a standard, or very common action that is required. So whenever there is a common, generic, or standard operation that we might require, for those things, you don't have to create your own modules. Or why you don't have to create? Because Tosca gives us already something called as standard modules, and in standard modules, this standard modules would consist of the actions that we would want to perform, and these actions could be the generic actions. So now what all generic actions could be there in application when we are testing? Like opening of the browser, launching of the URL, or closing the browser, closing any application, or taking the screenshot. So taking the screenshot, why it is generic? Because you might need that action, taking of screenshot, when you test this application 1, or if you test this application 2, even you need taking of screenshot. And if you test any other application, yes, you need to take the screenshot. So taking of screenshot, even we can say that is generic, action. So whenever you want to perform any generic actions from Tosca, you you need to refer or go through or remember that you might have some standard modules. So, and why do we really need modules? Modules, with the help of modules itself, we can create the test steps. And within our test steps, so whatever test case we are testing, the test steps, if we want to create, we need to have modules. So two types of modules. One is standard modules, another one is our own modules or application specific module is what we would have. Now application specific modules is a later part that we would discuss in detail later on. But for now, standard modules is the one that we would want to more focus on. So what is this standard modules? So these standard modules are nothing but any generic or a common operation that we might require if we are testing, if we are working on project 1, if we are working on project 2, projects so on, n projects, any number of projects if we would work. So from all those projects, the common actions, the common operations, the common things that we might require, those would be present in the standard modules. So how do we get, or where do we have standard modules if you want to see? So when we are creating our workspace, right? When we create our workspace, while creation, we take one checkbox, right? Check template, and then check template we use something called as standard.tsu. Standard.tsu. So what is this standard.tsu?
Subset.
It is a subset. So what is a subset? What do you mean by subset?
It is a standard module that is being implemented there.
Not about the standard module I'm talking about, just only the subset. What do you mean by subset in Tosca? Anyone?
Any specific common functionality that can be used, right? So that's a subset, right?
Okay. So
Subset is an
subset here
Related to
extension.
the Tosca.
yes,
Tosca extension.
Tosca related items, Tosca related things. Now, Tosca related items or things could be anything, be it modules, be it test cases, be it configuration, be it data, anything. So anything as a Tosca code, if we want to export it into some file, that file in general we will say it as the subset. So subset is nothing but Tosca related items would be present. Now when we say standard.tsu, This is nothing but standard subset is what we can say. Now what is this standard subset? Standard subset consists of the standard modules or the standard items that we might require. Now what is standard modules or standard things that we might require? So if we see, when we import it, we would have something called as in the modules. If you go to the module section, in the module section, if you go, you would get standard modules folder. Now what is this standard modules folder? Under this standard modules folder, if you expand this, you will be seeing there are different folders. Now if you see, first of all, everyone should have to understand what these things are overall in this Tosca. So first of all, here would be your workspace name, and the workspace location would be here, right? And the what is this .tws?
Tosca Workspace.
Extension.
Tosca
Path.
workspace extension. So it's an Tosca workspace extension. .tws is the Tosca workspace extension. And then what do we call this one? This particular things? What are this?
Component folder.
Component folders. So we have component folders. And now what is this? What are all this?
Modules.
Sections.
Sections in Tosca.
Sections.
So this is an execution section where execution we would be doing. Issues section. So what all sections first of all is available in Tosca that we would know? If you click here, you would come to know what all sections are available. Like test cases is a section, requirements is a section, modules is a section, reporting, issues, execution, configuration. All these are the different sections that are there in Tosca. So now in this sections, so modules, when we see, so this is module section or modules folder, now we can say, where what this modules folder would consist of, it can have only modules. So when we talk about test case, it would have only test cases. So again, when we are referring to modules, so this is a module section or a module folder. Now inside this, if we see what it is, this is also a folder again. But what folder it is? What is the folder name for this?
Standard module.
Standard modules. And again, is inside this standard modules, what is this again? Is it the same thing? Same way, right? So nothing but the folders again. Sub modules or sub folders you can call, not the modules. Modules we are not yet on to that. So under the modules section or under modules folder, you have something called as standard modules, a folder, and under standard modules folder you have again subfolders with different names, and now inside this, if I just expand further, again what do you see? What it is again?
Subfolders.
Again subfolders with different names. Again inside this subfolders, if I expand, is it again a folder? Do you see, is it a folder?
No.
No. So now if we see a folder would be this kind of structure it looks like. And inside modules folder, if you see this is nothing but a module now. This is a standard module. What is the module name for this?
TBox.
Take screenshot.
Take screenshot. Now here, first thing that everyone should understand is what is this icon, this representation. If you understand this and why we would have this particular thing inside that, then things would be very much clear going forward, whatever I'm trying to explain. So understand, if you don't understand any of this, just try to ask the questions right now, so that I would try to make things more clear in understanding way. So here first you have to understand that a modules folder, a module section would have module related things. So again, this is a module folder, this is also a module folder. Again inside this modules folder, which is nothing but the standard modules, we have 3 subfolders. And again inside this subfolders, if I expand, again we have some folders. So subfolders again. So what is this? First of all, which folder it is? TBox Automation Tools. So standard modules consist of 3 subfolders, which is TBox Automation Tools, X Engine and Data Service. So what are these folders now? If we go one by one, the first folder, so let me just open it here. So standard modules, inside this we have TBox Automation Tools, and inside this, if we see, we have different subfolders. Now in TBox Automation Tools or standard modules, so what do we have? We have something called as basic window operation. So buffer operation, expressions, file operations, folder operations, different things. Now what are actually these things? So these are nothing but the standard modules. Inside this, what do we have? We have standard modules related to what? Related to basic window operations. Now regarding the basic window operations, so when we are talking about, so if you see, let's say the browser is open, and let's say if the browser is opened in this way, right? If the browser is opened in this way for the very first time, if you would try to open a browser, and if it is launched, if the browser is opened in this way, so what is that as part of your testing? What exactly would you do now currently if you see the screen in this way or your browser window in this way?
We have to
What is that?
maximize the window.
You would be maximizing the window. So now, would you be maximizing the window only when you test this login test, practice test automation application, or is it like you would do it irrespective of what application you would test?
When browser getting open, that time we can do advanced.
Right. So when the browser would open, and for that, let's say if you are testing this application, or if you are testing any other application, even if you are testing any other applications, right? So over here as well, if it is this, you would still want to maximize the browser. Correct? Everyone agrees?
Yes.
Yes.
So whenever you have any specific action operation that you would want to perform, like maximizing the browser. Now maximizing the browser window is nothing but, we can say this is a standard or a generic action that we would want to perform. So whenever we see any generic actions or this particular thing that we would want to perform from Tosca, then for doing maximizing of browser or minimizing of browser, or this window if it is there, closing of this window, or application thing in this, taking the screenshot, or apart from that, if you would see what are the basic window operation, taking screenshot, clipboard, send keys, window operation, and scrolling. So any scrolling thing as well, if you want to perform within Tosca, like this scrolling thing we have, right? So the scrolling thing, even if you want to perform, all this is a generic or a standard modules, you would have it. Why? Because this actions or this operations, whatever you are seeing, you would require this across all the applications that you might test. That is where we can say all these actions are nothing but a part of standard modules. So all this taking of screenshot, window related, or what we can do window related, if you would see. So here in this value range, so bringing the window, if I just show you here, bring to front the window, bringing it to front, or closing of window, maximizing the window, minimizing the window, normal, wait on, close, open, or resizing, move to center, or verifying even the window exists. So all these different actions that we would want to perform. So for all these things, performing these actions from Tosca, we don't have to create any modules. If I want to maximize the browser, I can use this module. If I want to minimize my browser, I can use this module. If I want to verify any window exists, or if I want to bring the window to front, bringing the window to front in the sense, like we might have some different screens open. Out of 10 screens, I want the fourth screen to be my first screen visible on thing. So bringing that particular thing to front, like that, all those things we can do with the help of this standard module, which is TBox window operation. So likewise, if we want to take any screenshots, we can make use of this module. And if you want to scroll, we can make use of this thing. So not only window basic operations, regarding some buffer operations. Now what is buffer operations? Which is if you want to create some set buffer, meaning buffers here is nothing but the variables in programming language, what we call. So creation of the variable and assigning some value to that thing, right? So setting of the buffer or deleting the buffer, name to buffer, partial buffer. So about this buffer operation I would explain you later, but we have that. And some expression evaluation like TBox evaluation tool. So from Tosca, if you want to evaluate any mathematical related operations, so what could be mathematical related operations? Let me first right click column chooser. Let me just right click onto this column chooser and just let us take the description from here. So you would be able to understand what this particular module is used for. So if you see TBox takes screenshot, what this screenshot would do, taking the screenshot. So clipboard, some writing some text or send keys. So from keyboard, if you want to send any keys or window operations to execute any window related operations, we can use this modules, we can use this particular things. So here likewise scrolling, this module allows you to scroll to a specific window. So like this description of each of these modules is what you can find out here, right? And if you go to this TBox name to buffer set delete, about the buffers I would explain it later, but buffers thing here. So TBox evaluation tool. So what is this TBox evaluation tool? So from Tosca, if you want to perform the mathematical expressions, so what could be mathematical evaluation that you would want to do? I might want to test if 1 is greater than less than 2, check that if some value is equals to 10 or not, if some value is greater than this particular thing. So likewise some mathematical kind of expressions, if I want to test in my test case, then I can make use of TBox evaluation tool. Likewise file operation. So in file operation, so what exactly we might be doing as part of our testing with respect to file, can anyone just tell me?
To import or export the data.
Import export the data with the file. So
Upload.
manually, let's say you are testing
To
that
upload
file.
the file.
Yes.
To upload the files or the images.
Okay. And
Writing into a notepad CSV files, any data, huge data, if you wanted to write, maybe we can use that.
right. And also
Read
like
the data from the
file related
File
again, can we
file
just say like,
comparison will be there.
yes, so we might want to see whether the file is the TBox image comparison, the file is exist on the pay in the particular thing or not, or file comparing or deleting the file related operations. So copying a file from one system from one location to the other location, reading the data from that file, which is reading or creating a file, appending or renaming the file. So all these file related operations, if we want to perform as part of our testing, then we can make use of these modules. So first, if you are dealing with anything related to file, you have to come here and see, analyze, understand what type of standard modules are available. Other than this, if you want to do any other testing, then yes, you might want to scan, you might want to create your own custom module if you are doing those particular things. So file related operation, I might be, if you are testing a file, you might want to check whether the file is exist in the system or not, whether the file we can delete or not, copying a file from one location to other, creating a new file, renaming a file, and so on. So all those things from Tosca as part of your testing, automation testing, if you want to do, then you can make use of this standard modules. Now coming to folder related operations, can someone say with respect to folder what kind of testing you would be doing?
Fetch
Same,
the
the
data from
Same.
existence of the
particular
folder.
folder. Save the data
Creation,
in the folder.
deletion, writing something into that folder.
Correct. So whether creating a particular folder from Tosca, deleting any folder, copying any folder, and checking whether the folder is there or not. So and so folder, I am expecting this folder should be there. So that kind of test checks, if I want to perform, then I can make use of this standard modules. So folder related operations, if we were testing it, this is the modules that we could use it. So likewise, we have numeric operations. If we are performing, we want to do any operations on that, then converting some decimal number onto those things, or some process operations again. So if we see what are this process, so some TBox start program, and then resource handling and timing. So like we might be wanting to wait for some time, so between a particular time to particular time we want our Tosca scripts or particular test case demands or wants, okay, before you execute this particular step, test step number 10th, if you execute before that, just wait for some 10 seconds and then do the 10th step. So likewise, depending on the generic things, whatever you would need, the wait times, the start timer and all, so timing related is what you would find it in this. And uh, more than that, if you would see this TBox X engine, so under this TBox X engine, again, what all other standard modules you would have, like any database related testing if you are doing, then you might be finding the required modules under this folder. So any file related, again XML related file or JSON related file, or email related, again if you are interacting, if you are doing any testing, or mobile related or SAP related testing if you are doing, then you might find all those related modules inside this folder. So PDF, Excel related folders, or this particular things. So here overall, in short, anything, any specific testing if you are doing, so you first go through the standard module that we have and see if you could make use of already existed modules. If you could, like if you are doing any database related testing, then you just have to go through this database related standard modules. So with respect to database, when you are testing, you might want to open any database connection, close any connection, or run some SQL queries. All those things, for doing all those things, you can use this existing modules, right? Not only database, but some file related if you are doing, or some HTML. So what is this HTML? If you would see, if I would expand, so I might want to open the browser, I might want to close the browser, I might want to click on the screen onto this particular place. So different actions that I would want to perform, right? So if you see, click on screen, click, close the browser, and execute some JavaScript, open URL. So if you would see what these modules are used for against this description, you can understand. So what is this open URL? If you see, open URLs with a browser based test configuration parameter and so on. So you can read further this one, but so this module, what this module would do, it would help you to open a browser. And then this module, what it would do, it would help you to close the browser. So likewise, HTML, browser related, if you want to click on screen, if you want to do some these things, or if you are interacting with any Salesforce related application or SAP Fiori related uh, application, if you are trying to interact, then you might find those required modules inside this particular folders. So any testing if you are doing, and if you think that is very generic, a common action that you would require, for those common actions, right, for those common actions, you would be finding the standard modules. So if you don't have any standard modules for a particular operation or the action that you are looking for, then what we are going to do is we are going to create our own application specific module. So I hope you guys have got some idea on what is this standard modules. So how we can use that, I would explain you in a while. But again, test data service, what is this? So test data related. So data related when you are handling, and this is majorly it comes into picture when we are discussing on the Tosca server TDS, test data service, TDM, test data management, about that topic. So that I would discuss it later. But for now, Overall, in short, in general, what is this standard module? Nothing but this folder or this particular module would consist of the generic actions that we might require. So what could be the generic actions? If I want to open the browser, if I want to close the browser, if I want to take the screenshot, if I want to let's say I from the browser I might be downloading something, and as part of my testing I want to check whether that from the browser the file has downloaded in the system or not. So file system, checking the file if that particular file exists or not, I might be doing that. So folder operation, before I execute my test case I might want a particular folder to be empty. I want to delete a folder, I want to create one folder, any folder related operations, and any wait time, and so on. So all these actions, the generic ones, if we need it, the standard modules would have all those modules. So before I show you practical part of that, any questions until this part? What is this standard modules and all? Clear until this point?
Yes.
Even the standard module is present in difficulty in searching. Can we create ourselves new module in place of standard module? When we
Right. So
run
any
Tosca.
specific action that you would need, and then if you already have that standard module, but yeah, you are not aware of that, and then if you want to create your own thing, then depending on what that particular action you want to perform, yes, you can do it. So again, when we would discuss about how we can create our own module, at that moment you can see how we can create any other modules even. So yes, if you don't want to use any standard module, that is still fine. If you could create your own module, that's still fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So now here, depending on some requirements, let's say now as per our test cases, I might want to, let's say, open a browser, open a particular browser, and then want to launch a particular URL. So if I want to do that, as part of my test case, into that the first step, if I want to open the browser, so for opening a browser, since this action that we need is a generic one, now I hope everyone is analyzing that why this action I am saying it is generic. So any questions on this generic thing? First of all, generic or that standard one?
No.
If everyone is clear on this, what is generic actions or what is application specific, then I would see you would have some more better understanding of what or why I am doing exactly the other things. So first you have to be very thorough, clear understanding of what is generic and what is application specific. So depending on what action we want to perform, we will be doing those things. So here, as part of my requirement or as part of my action that I would want is, let's say I want to open a browser. So to open a browser, I would see this is a very generic thing that we would need. So since it is a generic, the standard one, standard modules would be there. And if I want to open any browser, so what is the module that would help us to open a browser?
Standard.
What is that standard module name?
TBox open source.
XML under we can
Browser mode.
Windows,
open URL.
Open URL.
Windows
Exactly.
operations.
So Windows operation. So if you would see Windows operation, if you go, where do you have that Windows operation? So under basic Windows operation. So do you see anywhere TBox window operation? What this window operation module would do? It would just execute an operation on a window. So what kind of operation it would execute? Like you would have to give some caption of the window, some window index, and the operation. In the operation, what sort of operations do we have? If we want bring to front, close, maximize, minimize. So for all those things, first of all, the window should be there, and then on that window, if any operation that you would want to perform, then TBox window operation would be handy. But as per the requirement over here, I would first of all want to open the browser. So since I would want to open that browser, I would see that that module would be present in HTML folder under that open URL. So if you would read description of this, what this open URL would do, it opens a URL with browser based on the test configuration parameter called the browser. And then if the browser value is not known, unknown or empty, then the default desktop browser is taken. So here in short, if you want to open browser from Tosca, just use this open URL module. The module name is open URL. That's it. So how we can use that? Go to the test case, right click on the test case, search and add test step, and into this search for the module name that we would need. Now what module name I need? As per my action, I want to open the browser. Since I want to open the browser, I have the module name called open URL. I would search for that module name. When I search for that module name, I would get the suggestion over here. If I click, now I have got that module into my test case. So into our test case, the moment you add or consider that module, you see this is now, what is this? What can we say this is?
Tester.
Yes.
Test step.
So this is a test step. Now what is this? This
Test
icon?
case.
This is a test case. And what is this?
Folder.
This is a folder. And what is this?
Folder.
Section.
This is again a section or a folder, test case
Folder.
folder even is what we can say. So these things you guys should be very aware of because I see other candidates, the previous batch people were getting confused between what a test case looks like and what a test step. They are just a test case and the test folder. They are just assuming everything is same. So here the test case folder looks like this and the test case would look like this and the test step this way. So now in this, so we have created one test step. How did we exactly created a test step inside test case? By just
Right click.
considering the module. So here what module we have got? A standard module. Why we got the standard module? Because as per the
Generic.
action that we wanted to perform, we had seen that standard module would help us to do that action, which is open browser. If I want to do, then I'm taking this open URL module name. So how I have got this module, how we can get that module into our test case?
By using search.
Yes, right click,
Right click. Search and ask.
search and add a test step, and then over here we can search for the module. So any module, whatever module you have, you can search for all those modules. So like window related something, if you search window, then you are getting TBox window operation, scroll window, you are getting such things, right? Now if apart from this, so what are the others? So the first question from the interview point of view on this modules would be, what are the standard modules or what are the frequent ones or the what are the most used standard modules in your project? So here to answer that, first you should be using some of the standard modules. Now what all standard modules are you guys aware of within this time? Let me just check. We will try to search for those modules. So one by one, can you say some module names? Standard modules.
Open URL.
Open URL is a module name. What this open URL module would do?
Open the browser.
It opens the browser. So that is what we require. Okay, open browser. Okay. Other than this,
Maximize.
Close window.
close browser. So close browser, if we see, so the what this module would do, it would close the browser or the tab or the application. So again, close browser is fine. Other than this,
Window maximize.
tab or multiple tabs.
so all those things we will see it later on. Okay. So next.
SAP login.
So
Like-
SAP related module, SAP logon. So now SAP related, if you are trying to do anything, then you would have those SAP modules. So other than that, web-based testing, what else? Standard
Numeric,
operation.
Maximize window.
numeric.
Maximize window. Do we have some module called maximize window?
No, window operation.
Window operation. So we would require TBox window operation, and inside this TBox window operation, if you see here, when I take TBox window operation, so what this window operation, TBox window operation is looking for, it needs caption and it needs the operation. So here caption would be the title of the page, the screen, the window that you would want, and then operation. In operation, what sort of operation related to window we want to do. So in this value section, this drop down, if you see, bring to front, closing of the window, maximizing the window, minimizing the window, normal, close, wait on, verify any window exists or not, all those things, window related operations, you could do it with the help of this module. Now here, first thing, let me just open one browser. So I would take open URL as the module name, and what this module, how this module would work. If I want to understand, I will just select that module, right click, jump to the module. So from this step, I can right click, jump to the module, and it will navigate me to that particular module in standard modules. And over here, how this open URL functions is what now we can see the description of this. Opens a URL with a browser based test configuration parameter called browser, and then if the browser value is unknown or if it is empty, which browser it would open? Default browser, default desktop browser, whatever is set, it would be opened. So let us try to use this module. So if I'm using it here, what this module is expecting, it
URL.
active tab or something. So here in the URL place, under the value column, you just give the URL, and let's see if this would do. So what URL should we give? Anyone? Just any sample URLs? What
Google.
URL should I open? Google.com.
Google.
Google.com. Let's try to open this thing. Now, yes, that's it. Just by using the open URL module name, and in the URL place, in the URL name, under the value column, if I give that value, just with this, let us now see if Tosca is helping us to open the browser, and into that browser it should launch the URL as this one. That is what our expected is. Everyone is on the same page, correct? That is what we are expecting with this step. It should help us open one browser, and application URL, which is google.com, should be launched. Yes or no, everyone?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we have just used the standard module, and inside that standard module in the URL, if we have given this, and if we want to test it, if we want to check this, if Tosca is doing it or not, you can select the individual step and then right click on that step and say run, execute it, run in Scratchbook. So when I run this, now Tosca would be executing that, and depending on what step it is, it will try to perform that. Now on your screen, it should try to do it as per the expected behavior. So for that module, we are expecting Tosca should open one browser and it should launch google.com. And now if you see the execution window, it is executing, execution started, and once it is done, you would see, if everything goes well, you will see green color. You're seeing, right? So green color. And then on your screen, so on this screen, it has opened now google.com. And which browser it has opened?
Google. Chrome.
Chrome
By
browser.
default.
So why Chrome?
Chrome
Because
browser.
Chrome browser is the
Default.
default one which is set in my machine. So if it is not if in your system, if you use this, so whatever is set in your default thing, Tosca would open this google.com onto that browser. So this is one way how we could use open URL module and launch any URL, any application URL, whatever we want to give. Now the next question would come here is, so Pradeep, what if I don't want to open the default browser? I would want to open as per my requirement, as per my test case. So some test case might say, okay, I want Chrome. Some test cases might say Firefox. Some test case might say IE. So if I want to do that way, then how we can do that? So the answer would be, again, yes, use the same module, give the URL of the application whatever you want to launch, but along with this, if you have see this module, what it is saying, it would open any browser whatever the test configuration parameter. So now what is this test configuration parameter and all, we will discuss that later, but only for this open URL itself, let's say the parameter name that we would want to create is browser. So what we have to do is go to the test case, and over here you have something called as test configuration. Onto this test configuration tab, right click over here and you get this TC or create test configuration parameter, this option. So create it, and here now what it is asking, give the name of the parameter and value of the parameter. So what is the name of the parameter which we want to create as per our requirement? Browser is the parameter name. Just write it browser over here then. And then what value? Now in the value, what value do we want?
Whether it's Chrome or
Chrome.
Edge,
If it
browser
is
name.
Chrome, then Chrome.
Browser
If
name.
it is Firefox, then Firefox. If it is Edge, we want to give Edge. Likewise, if you see for this browser in the value place, you would get some suggestions automatically from Tosca. So whether you want browser value as Chrome or Edge or Firefox or Internet Explorer or all those things. So let's say if I take this Edge, if I give this Edge browser, and now when I go back, when I execute my test case, the test step, right click, run. So what are we expecting now?
Open in Edge.
Oh, Edge.
It should open Edge, and in Edge, what it should do?
To launch google.com.
Google.com. And now if you see test case executed well, but still on my screen, the Edge browser is not yet opened. So once it opens, you would be able to see that. And in that Edge browser, it should launch google.com. So just it takes a while again. See, but this is how you would be seeing. You see now it is opening an Edge browser, and into this Edge browser that google.com is being launched. So this is how you can launch any browser of your own choice. So now if I don't want this Edge, if I want Firefox, Internet Explorer, anything, you could just select those browser value parameter and then right click and run, execute it. So it would execute that particular browser. So any questions on this open browser thing? Is it clear how we can?
Yeah, so there are so below URL we see use active tab and all those things, right? So what are those things like?
Right. So again, if you would jump to this model, you could understand use active tab, the URL which should be opened. If no browser test configuration parameter is set, then the default desktop it is used, and then use active tab. So what if there are some tabs that are opened? So from that, which one do you want to consider active and all? So this is something the tab related, any active. So you might have n number of tabs. If it is already open, out of all those n number of tabs open, which one do you want to use? Only the active tab or the other tabs? So that is what it means. But in general, we would be just using one browser and one tab. Multiple tabs, we don't want it to be opened, because we don't want to make our test complex. So that is where use this open URL. Under this URL, if you give this value, it will just open a fresh browser. If it is not opened, it will open the browser, and then again by default it is like use the active tab. So whatever in the active in the tab, if it is there, it will just use that tab, and onto that tab it will try to perform what you would want to do. So that active tab. So I would say that would be a bit confusing for you all now. So ignore those things. So that is not much of attention for now. So if you want to just open the browser, open any application, open browser and launch application. So whatever URL you would give, this step would help you to do that. Okay.
Pradeep, I do have a question here. So for the URL, we are specifying the value, right? So
Yes.
could it be partial or it should be complete? Like, can we specify it as google.com or is any condition there?
No, I think we should be giving it completely. If you don't give complete things, again, yeah, on this browser, if you would just give any other demo thing, and then if you hit enter like this, if you're using, and then the
Hmm.
same value, if we give it here, again, while copying, it is just taking the
Oh, by default.
HTTPS,
Okay.
yes. So probably we would need. So again, you experiment such things. So when you are
Hmm.
exploring, learning things, see if you could give without that and see how it is behaving, how it is
Yeah.
working on.
Yeah. And also another thing is like, so yeah, it's a common like HTTP or HTTPS. So that also another thing, right? So we need to
Yes,
consider.
exactly. So your application URL, how it is, you have to give that complete value. So the best
Hmm.
practice would be give the complete value
Yes.
what you are expecting
Hmm.
instead of experimenting it over there. I would say that.
Okay. Okay. And another question is like, we haven't used any maximize operation, window operation here.
Right, right.
Maybe
So
I
let
haven't
us
noticed.
try to do
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
here, what I would do is, let us open this URL and then I'll close all those things. And let's say this browser is this way. Let's say it is this particular thing. And now if the window is opened in this way, now what I would want is, I would want to maximize this browser, this particular window. And the window name, again, it is this particular thing, right? So what is the window name? So if you would see the title, the name of that window would be over here. If you would see the window name, you see here
Mm.
demo web shop hyphen
Mm.
Google Chrome is the window name, the title. Now according to this, let's try to see. Let me just minimize it, show you. Let's say the browser is opened in this way, and now as part of our the next step that we would want to do is maximizing the browser. So how we can maximize? What we have to do? Right click,
Window operation, search and
search
test.
and add test step, and search for the module name. What is the module name we require?
Window operation.
Window operation. Or we already know where that module is present. So if we can go to that modules directly, where that is present inside TBox automation tools in
Basic.
basic window operations, and then we have this TBox window operation. So if we know which module it is, just select that module, take it, drag and go back to the test case. On the test case, drop that module. So if you drop
Mm.
it, you will see here the next step would be created. And the next step here is that module. So now that module, what that module is expecting. So if you would go to this module, understand, see the description, it executes operation on a window. What is this caption? Caption of the window. So whatever the caption of the window. Now caption of this particular window is new
Demo.
Microsoft Word document. So
Mm.
likewise, caption of this window is this NOV, this particular thing. So caption of this particular window is Zoom,
Yeah.
this particular, like that, whatever caption. So the one that we want to interact is this. So what is the caption of this window?
Demo web shop.
Demo web shop, exactly complete thing we have to give. If you don't give complete thing, then Tosca might not be identifying that part. So it
Mm.
is demo, D capital demo, and then W capital and S capital demo web shop. So demo web, and then if you have anything else but you don't care about what it is, we could keep even star. So demo web, look for a caption which has demo web is what we are trying to say. Now
Okay.
on to that window, what we want to do,
Maximize
in the
operation.
operation thing, in the value, you could select whether you want to bring that window to front or close that window or maximize, minimize, normal, wait on, some wait on thing, or check if that window is opened or not. If that application window is opened or not, we might want to verify this particular window is exist or not. And then along with this, we might want to check for this, after verifying the window, I might want to bring that window to front. And then apart from this, I might want to maximize the window. So I would select maximizing the window. Likewise, I can do it. Now, once I have written all this, so if you would see, so what is this? Here we are doing verifying the window. The first one verifying, and the second one bring to front, and then third one we are maximizing. So again, any of the steps, if you need it, take it. If you don't need it, delete, consider it, don't use it. That's it. So here we are verifying window. So according to that, we will try to rename it so that not only us, but even others could understand what we are trying to do. So we are verifying the window in that, and in this, what we are trying to do, we are bringing that
Bring
window
to
to
front.
front. So bring to front is the action that we are performing. So bring to front is what we are doing. And then the next one in this, what we are doing, maximize.
Maximize.
So now, if I select this verifying, just check whether the window is exist on the page or not. And if it is there, then Tosca would give us green. If it is not there, Tosca here the test step will fail. That's it. So red color is what you will see. Now green in the sense it is there. Now likewise, bring to front. And then verify window exists, bring to front, maximize. All these three steps I can select, right click, run, execute, and now I am away from my mouse. Now if you see, Tosca has also maximized. So this is how you could use the standard modules according to your requirement.
Okay.
So if you want to minimize, then same those things. If you want to close, use those particular module. So likewise, if I want to take the screenshot of this particular application, if I want to take the screenshot, what is that I have to use here now? Module name?
Screenshot.
Take screenshot. So if you just partially also, if you remember some name of that module, just like screenshot, since I need screenshot, I would search for that screenshot thing, and then module color, that module color you remember, and then just go for that module. If you see, the module name is TBox take screenshot. So if I click this, now it is giving us TBox take screenshot. So if you see here, the icon thing, so it needs environment, directory, and file name. Now if you go jump to this module, TBox take screenshot. What is the description of this? It saves a screenshot of the current screen to the specified path. So if you see, what is this environment? It is like value range. What are the values? Desktop or mobile. And what is the description? What it says? It is optional. So it is an optional field where the environment for which you want to take the screenshot, and directory is also an optional field where you want to save the image. But what is this file name? The name of the file to be saved. Now if you see here, the optional fields and the required fields, the icon, the representation, if you see this blank thing, but this one is something different. So if you see any test steps or the attributes that you have, if you see this one, these are optional fields. If you give this value or don't give, doesn't matter, but for sure you need to give this value. So this step is expecting some value for this, that is for sure. But other than this, it is an optional field. If you give or don't give, Tosca would consider something defaultly. That is what it means. Now here, take screenshot. So I want to take the screenshot, and what it is expecting, the mandatory field like file name. So file name, I want to give the file name. What file name should we give? We could give anything over here. I would say application opened. Just the file name is what I want to just give that way. So I would give it this way, just the file name I am giving. Now with this, right, what I would do is, let me just close this, right? We will try to execute from starting point. So again, one by one step, individual step you can select, or shift control everything, or control a specific steps as well you can select, or select the test case, right click on the test case and run in Scratch. So when I'm executing, I'm now executing all the steps of the test case, and depending on what that steps should do, Tosca would be doing it. Now here if you see, it is green red color, which means something is failing. What is failing? So what it says, a window with caption demo web shop doesn't exist. Why that window was not exist? Because still the application was in loading stage. So how we could handle that loading stage and all that, later we will try to discuss that, or we already know. So if something is loading after this, we know after opening the browser, we want, before it executes this one, verifying the window exists, right? uh, we would want Tosca to wait for some time before this step or after this step. Again, if we want to wait, what we have to use here?
Wait on.
Wait on or wait time. So what is the module name which we have to search here? Wait. If you search for wait, TBox wait is the module. So if we click this, what is this TBox wait would do? Just it is expecting, give me the duration for how long you want to wait. The time of the duration, the parameter is milliseconds. So if you see, give the time in the milliseconds. And now let's say if I want to wait for 5 seconds, then in the value place I have to give 5, and 1000 milliseconds is nothing but 1 second. So if I want to wait for 5 seconds, I have to give 5000 milliseconds. If I'm giving 5000 milliseconds, this step would now wait for 5 seconds before it goes to the next step. This is what the standard module how we can use. Now let us just see if this one would work. So I'll select the test case, right click, run in this scratchbook. When I'm running it, now it is opening this demo web shop, and 5 seconds it would now wait. After that it would verify window, bring to front, maximize, and those things. And now if you would see, test green, everything passed. So if you see from here to here, the next step, it was waiting for 5 seconds, right? The duration as well, if you would see. So when it started, after that this particular step, it wait for 5 seconds, and after that the next step it has went to. So if you would see the start time even, so that 5 seconds from 54 to 59, 5 seconds wait of time is what it has even performed. So this is how it is waiting, and at the end TBox takes screenshot. What is this TBox screenshot is doing? It is, the screenshot has successfully created. Where the screenshot is getting saved? So as per this detail, if you would see, by default it is going to this default location. See, Tosca projects, Tosca commander, screenshots, and under that the screenshot name, if you see, application opened is what we have given, but along with that there is something .jpg. So this file location, now if you would navigate, let me just navigate to that. So it is in C, Tosca projects, and then what is the location? Tosca commander. In Tosca commander you have folder called screenshots. Under this screenshots, if you see, there are so many screenshots. Under this, what is our screenshot name? Application opened, and 2025, this particular thing. So where is that application opened? Over here, do you see? With a application, app launch, application opened. Yeah, application opened here. And now if I would show you this particular screenshot, here you would be seeing that Tosca has taken the screenshot of that application. So this is how you could make use of the standard modules whatever are present. This is how it has taken the screenshot of the application.
Can't we see that screenshot in the tool itself?
In the
Tools, Tosca tool.
right, here it is just giving us this uh, location where it is getting saved, but
It
again,
is
where
showing the
it's
uh, local place where the screenshots getting saved.
yes.
In the tool, there is any space where it is getting saved.
No, again, so from that local location, again, we have some ways where we could just see the screenshot here itself in the execution, but it won't be saved anywhere in Tosca tool. No, it won't be saved.
I mean, in the database or repository somewhere, there is no
Uh,
option for that.
no, not there.
Okay. And I have one doubt actually. When we are opening the browser, if there is no existing browser, then definitely it will open a new browser. If there is already open the browser and we are providing any particular URL on that, then definitely like whether it gonna open it in a new browser or it will open in a new tab in the existing browser.
Right. So it would open a new, it first checks for what browser it is. So if that browser is already opened and it tries to interact with that and it opens a new tab. Into that new tab, it launches that application. So if that application is already there and again you are trying to open, it would open another tab and it would open that application.
If we want to open it in another new browser means, will it possible? Like, is there any option?
New browser in the sense that then give that browser.
If already a Chrome browser is open, again we are performing any new URL, but don't want to open the URL in existing browser, but existing browser in the new tab, but we want to open in a new browser.
Right. So for that, we have something called as the TBox start program, which we were having one of the standard module. Again, TBox start program. So if you see what is this TBox start program, so this module would help us to open any application, any desktop based application in our system. It could be browsers, it could be Notepad or Word document or SAP application or so on. Any application, if we just give the path of that application, it will open TBox start program. Now if you would see what is this TBox start program, it just starts a program with given arguments. What is this argument? Path of the program to be started, and then directory, arguments, and some optional this particular things. Now in this, how we can use this, here we have to give the path. Now what is that path we have to take? So let's say if we want to open one Chrome browser, so first we have to give where is that Chrome browser application installed. So if you go to this program files somewhere in our Google Chrome application, if you see this application, if you double click from here, a Chrome browser would be opened, right? So same way
Yes.
we can copy this path, control right click onto this, and let me just copy the path of this location, this application, and I would go to this TBox start program. Onto this path I will paste this value. So what I'm pasting, the copy path. So what I'm saying with this TBox start program is just open this application. So when I right click, select this, now what you would see is it would open this particular application. If you would see, it has opened one new window. And then into this window again, if I want to launch, let's say some application, other application, let's say this application, if I want to launch, I'll close this. I want to launch that application. So if I want to launch that application, go to this arguments place. In arguments, just give this value, the URL. If I give that URL over here, now what this step would do upon execution is it should open one new browser, and then it would do this application that is getting launched. So this is how it would be just using this things. So yeah, instead of this Google Chrome, if you give Firefox or any other application that it is there. So let's say if you want Internet Explorer onto this, where is this iExplorer? So this path, if you want to open, so copy this path, right? And then let me use TBox start program again. So TBox start program, and this TBox start program, if I give this value iExplorer.exe, onto that I would want open HTTPS, let's say google.com or any other application. So I would give that and select that step, right click, run. So upon execution, it should open that iExplorer, nothing but now MS Edge application only. So if you see Edge, it is opening Edge window and it is launching that URL. So like that, you have to make use of the standard module. Now, let's say any specific folders, if you want to test whether this particular file is there in this location or not, if you want to check those things. So let's say I want to check whether one file is exist in my system or not. Let's say I want to check this particular file, Tosca demo file, copy as path, if this file is there in my system or not, in this particular location or not. If I want to check that, how we can check? Anyone?
File
Folder
operations.
ops.
File existing.
File existence,
File
because we are checking for file. So
file.
file existence is what we would need a module, and that TBox module, what it is expecting, give me the directory and the file. So directory, the location, here I'm
Path.
giving the everything, but instead of this, we just need only this directory, this location. Onto this folder location, the file name is check for this, is what we are saying. Now when I give this, if I right click, if I run, so if this in this location, if this file is there, test case will pass. If that file is not there, test case will fail. Let's say I'm expecting this, now it is passing, but let's say if I want, okay, Tosca demo 123 something, if this PPT, this particular thing is there or not. Now do we have this particular file in our system?
No.
No. What would happen to the test?
Fail.
It will
Test
get
should
failed.
fail. So see, red color, which means the test is now failing. So it is saying you are checking for verification, you are checking for this particular expected, you wanted this file to exist, but that file is not exist. So like that, file exists, folder exists, delete a file, delete a folder, all those things you just have to use the module name. So what module? So file related, copy, rename a file, folder related, create a copy, create a folder. So all those things you just have to use that standard module, take that, check whether the TBox file existence or deleting a file or all those things, whatever you have, just use that modules, that standard modules into your test case and uh, do the testing. So requirement, based on your requirement, you just have to use that standard modules. Any questions on this?
And for the file name, do we need to append that extension to the file name, Pradeep?
To the file name?
Like .pptx, right? The
Yes.
extension. So do we really need that, or just a file name?
I guess we might need that, or if we don't give, if we right click run,
No,
just
onto
explore
the.
all those things again. That's what we just
Okay,
have to
okay.
see. So probably 1, 2, 3 is not there.
I think if you can put the star, then it will work out, right?
Yes.
Tosca
So
demo.
any extension, all those
Yes.
extensions again, we might have those things. So yeah, Tosca demo, and then it is failing. It is expecting that Tosca demo. Yeah. So
Okay.
extension is what you have to give.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so just make use of some of the standard modules. Now, depending on what action we want to perform as part of our test case, we will be using those standard modules into our test case. Now, if you are performing any database related thing, database we have any HTML browser related, some open browser, close browser. So again, close browser as well. How we can use that? Just if I want to close this particular let's say this browser, if I want to close this demo web shop, if I want to close, what I can you do, just right click, search for the module name called close browser, and then in this close browser just give the title of the application which you want to close. And I want to close, the title name would be the tab at the top, you would see the title names, right? So here demo web shop, that is what if I want to close, I would give here demo web shop or demo, just demo star, demo web star, something like that, and I will right click, run this. Now if I execute, you see that second tab, demo tab, should get close. If everything is written correctly, it would close. So this is how you could make use of the standard modules, close, delete, and then uh, SAP related or mail or some, again, what are the mail related, connecting to the mail server, receiving the mail, sending the mail, or just JSON file, XML file, or just some files, or again Excel. So Excel related we would be discussing in one of the sessions. So how you can open an Excel, delete an Excel, close, update Excel, all those things. Regarding the Excel, we have the standard modules, comparing the file, Excel files, and so on. So yeah, few of this, if you would just be aware of, that's fine, because to me as well, I don't know what all exactly the modules are present. Only few things, depending on whatever action I would want to perform, I would come here, check if that file, if that module is there. If I'm aware of, I would use it. If I'm not aware of, then I'll try to find out how we could do that. So should I just create one module and use it? Then I would do it. If not, yeah, some other way we would just keep trying and looking into that. But most frequently used ones like open browser, close browser, and window related operations, and taking the screenshot. And yeah, these are the most used ones: TBox wait, and file folder deleting, checking, and Excel related, opening a Excel, reading the Excel, reading the data from Excel, so on. That's it about the standard modules. So I would assume it's clear what is the standard modules and how we can use that in our test case. So in our next session, probably I would be explaining on how we can create our own application specific or the custom modules. Now, when we are talking about that custom modules, nothing but identifying elements in Tosca, identifying those elements in Tosca, how we can identify. There are some different ways, like by properties, by index, image, anchor, all those different things that we would be discussing it in the next session. So probably what is this the application specific module, what is that access scan, what is that scan thing, what is this access scan, what are elements, how we can identify. So once we are aware of this particular things, I would say you guys would be able to automate any given application with basic things. Later on, the next our other sessions would be how well, how optimized things, how could we use the framework, how we can create and all. That is what we are going to discuss. But modules again, so just with these things, if you are aware of completely about modules, then I can say that you can automate any given application. That's it. Okay, then any questions onto this standard modules?
Pradeep, I have one question. Like, you use start program, right? So
Mhm.
there we are giving a path of like a TBox start program. Over there, you're giving the path of the browser, and well, the arguments we are passing, what exactly it needs to open, right? So what is the major difference between this and open, like open browser launch, and over there we are doing some configurations, like
Right.
just complete.
So if you see this TBox open URL, so this module name is nothing but open URL, correct?
Yes.
So what this open URL would do is nothing but it opens the browser and launches the URL, whatever you would give. But this TBox start program, it is not for the browser only. It could be whatever path you would give. It would just active. It would open that application, be it any desktop application. If you give Notepad plus Notepad exe application, or SAP application path, or any desktop based application, if you want to open, can you open that with the help of open URL?
Mm.
Any desktop based Notepad plus, let's say if I want to open, can you open that with the help of open URL? No. So how you can open that Notepad plus, a desktop based application, how you can open? With the help of TBox start program, I would say. Just
And the
simple.
argument we are passing is like it will type or like it will open something that
So
that is.
argument, now again here, depending on different things in different context, the arguments would be different. So with respect to browser, if you are doing and giving some arguments, it will like, okay, the URL it would take, and the other things. So here we also have something else. I don't want to it would be too much if I would try to explain now, I would say that things would be too much. But if I want to close this uh, application, how you can close? By TBox window operation, close those things, or forcefully if I want to close any window, then how you can do that is with the help of again the TBox start program. In the path you can write task kill as the this particular thing, and then in the argument /f forcefully try to close the chrome.exe application, and the image is IM, so some image path. Now with this TBox start program, if I'm giving task kill, if I right click, if I run this now, what would happen is it would check for that chrome.exe thing, and then it will try to close that chrome.exe application with this part. So with this forcefully, what is this task kill now? We are, oh, wait, let me just /im if I give, and then chrome.exe. So if
Is
I,
it redirecting through command prompt?
yes, so task kill again, path task kill is nothing but from command prompt you are just trying to delete those things. Now with this, if you see, it is deleting, removing that uh, Chrome thing. So like that, this start program would be used in different ways, and these arguments would be depending on what context we are using, things would change. So I would say this would be too much for the starting classes or the session, so let's not go too deeper onto that. So few of the modules like open browser, close browser, TBox window operation, and then taking the screenshot, just the basic ones, try to understand. And even not all of them, few of them if you are aware of, that's fine. Later on, the more we practice, the more we go deeper into our training session, the better is what you would get to understand.